I was born in North Tonawanda at DeGraff Hospital. No, I was born in 1979. Being in the military was always something that I thought about. You know, through high school, you know, I think you get to that age as a young person when that becomes an option. And I graduated college, and I wasn't 100% sure what my next step was. And then September 11th occurred, and I just remember feeling that sense of helplessness, watching the events unfold, as probably a lot of Americans did. But I was in a unique position where I could do something about it. You know, I was a young guy, just out of college. I wasn't married. I, didn't have a girlfriend. So to me, it was, if I didn't join or do something then, I never would have. Well, of course, boot camp is boot camp. It's not the best experience, but at the same time, it wasn't as bad as you probably thought it would be. I was 22. I had been away from home. I think that helped. I had a certain level of maturity. Had I been 18, it may have been a little bit tougher. But it wasn't too bad. It was a good experience. And really, for me, the military, from the get-go, was like a glove. It was a good fit. I never regretted being in the military or thought it was the wrong move or the wrong choice. Obviously, I was a combat engineer. I wanted to be in a combat-related field. I wasn't looking to get in the military to be at a desk. I could go to a desk in the civilian world. For me, again, coming out of September 11th, being in a combat role was more important to me. When I became an officer, I had the option to what they call reclassify and pick a branch. And so I took that opportunity and I became a cavalry officer. Basically, they're these scouts. And so a lot of times, they will be forward of the main unit, scouting the enemy's positions in a traditional conflict. Light armor, so instead of tanks, you're in Humvees or Bradleys or light armor vehicles in a lot of situations. So, which was cool. Again, I got to wear the Stetson, which is pretty cool. So most of the days, we're fine. We left for our patrols. We were working with Afghan National Police. And most of the days, every day you came back home with everybody, it was a good day. And there were enemy contact during that time. But there was one, obviously there was one bad day, and we lost four of our personnel in about 15 seconds, and it was something I'll never forget. As far as afterward, packing up their gear and pictures of their loved ones and letters from wives, and I was 29, but you don't realize how young you are when you've never gone through something like that, and so you grew up fast, and it changes the way you look at things. We were in charge of about 150 Afghan National Police in and around Kandahar city, which is the second largest city in Afghanistan, behind the capital, Kabul. And when we got there, they were a ragtag bunch. They didn't have uniforms. They weren't getting paid in some cases. They were very corrupt, as you might imagine. And I felt like when we left, at least our police had made really significant strides. And that was because we had the right leadership, both when Colonel Walton and Major Godet were involved, and then afterward. We were always there. We were doing our mission. We ate with them. We did patrols with them. We gained a certain level of trust, and they gained a level of trust with us. And in a counterinsurgency operation, you need that. There's inherent risks involved with that, as you can see from the news reports sometime. But that is the only way to do it. You can't do it with a large degree of separation. You have to be with them. We had our own mission, and very much it was a central piece to the overall mission of turning Afghanistan over to the Afghans. You can't do that if their police and their army aren't able to handle it. And so I felt privileged to have that mission, as hard as it was. And I feel privileged to lead the men that I led. I mean, these were guys who, if you saw them on the street today, they were normal kids. They were 18, 19, 20 years old, 22, but they were superheroes over there. I mean, they were doing incredible stuff, and I was very privileged to get to know a lot of them and to say that I was leading them.